Hello everyone, this is King Harp. I am back again. I want you to subscribe to my channel. Everyone subscribe, touch the subscribe button. I'm not going anywhere. I'm only going to get more influential with these talking points. I'm offering you a soundbite here. I want you to subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get at least 1,000 so I can start going live. This is a very serious thing, and I want to continue to do it with my brothers and sisters as we go on redeveloping, uprooting the system of white supremacy and replacing it with justice. This is what we are doing. We're getting something done for ourselves, okay? And I'm King Harp here, and I understand that we are important, and we have most black people in the masses, what we found out, they don't understand as we don't understand necessarily how important we are, but we've been shaped a certain way. And what we've been normalizing is a false fantasism of what life really means in terms of what we really experience or where we at. And that's the United States in society. We don't see importance as being important. We think of it in terms of like a fantasism or like a plaything. That's not really important. We have lost touch all these years of understanding something, of understanding something. You have to understand something. You know, let me use a metaphor. When a child comes out and the child's in the house, the child has to understand he has an overseer, he has parents to teach and raise him. He has a life outside of his understanding. He's overseen by city and state. He don't even understand the hierarchy of that because he only understands first the hierarchy of his parents. And they understand the house. He's out the rain. He's inside of a house. He doesn't understand. This is the way government is shaped. It's over us. It's next to God. These are Caesar's laws. You got to understand. People that are black talking about, well, you know, I don't do politics or not really looking at it. That is not the answer. That is very important now. It's like it's like breathing air. It's your life. Politics is your life. We have to normalize this understanding and we have to reshape ourselves and come back to the center of this so that we can now have a balance in terms of what really happens, of our importance. We can't be scattered looking for something, thinking everything is okay. This is new world. Everybody is now free and existing. No, some people are free. We're not. You can't be free somewhere unless you have the incentives to be free in that space. If I go to a party and I'm supposed to be at the party, I have to have the party incentives to join the party. I can turn them down. But if you tell me to come to a party and you say, well, you can't have anything. You're welcome to the party, but you can't have any snacks. You can't have any drinks. I'll give you a cracker. But this is what's happening to the slave descendants. You're at the party, but you don't have any incentives. I think I used that metaphor before, but I'm going to continue to use it. Right now, we need everybody. I don't care if you, like I said, are a super black person that you think you are because you've gotten money and you've been able to be adopted by white supremacy. See, that's called an adoption. You see, if I got 5 children in this house and 4 of them are mine and I adopt one, it's going to be up to me to treat that child like one of my own. It's going to be up to me to go and tell the rest of the family that this boy is your brother and I'm going to treat him no different, and I find out anything else, there's going to be trouble. That's called protection. I gave him protected class citizenship in my home. I gave him protection in terms of family. Well, see, the United States government owe us that. We're natives. We didn't come here looking for a better life. We didn't shoehorn our way in somebody's country. We built the country. We're the origin of the country. We are the history of the country. But we've been left out of what the country offers in a major way. We've been left out of the origin of the country. We are the belly of the country. We're in the belly of the beast. We have been left out the origin of the way the country survives, of the way people breathe, the way people live. This is how people live. They live through incentives, through protections. Other than that, there's many people white supremacy would have harmed if government did not state that they were important by constitutional rights. And those constitutional rights that they're using belongs to the American Negro. The reshaping of government came through the suffering of black people, slave descendants. All these laws were created because of the way they treated slaves. And other people come here and benefit from those laws because they're golden laws, because this is a golden place. You see, these laws belong to a golden place. You got to understand what the United States is. It's the first world nation. It's where it's at. Everybody want to come here. But the only way they can exist here is to remake the law or ride the laws that exist for black people. They have to use whistleblower terms like colored, minority, because they say, oh, East Indians say, well, we're a minority too, because it's not many of us, because the definition of minority is less than. So we're a minority also. Mexicans, we're a minority too. Then they use the word brown. And they tagged us to it, black and brown. Well, I'm going to announce right now and again, as I always say, this is not a black and brown coalition. Because brown people are coming here to advance, and they are advancing on our constitutional rights in the belly of our protections. While we continue to live in subservient places, continue to exchange subservient in business, while they own companies, even Mexicans, running construction sites in Atlanta, in California. They're having children on the 14th Amendment, going to our HBCUs, becoming professionals. And they are cousins of white people supremacists because they're saving white men money, working in the farms. It's a business deal. And they are value in terms of business. In terms of business, they have a value and they have a reparation through our government because they are valued politically. But we're not. Because we don't do free labor anymore. We're not anybody's property anymore in terms of what it means to have a real slave. So there's no value. Not really. But we are, at the same time, industrial slavery. We continue to go to work. We continue to give them our labor, continue to pay for things, buying stuff at gas stations and stores around that belong to them. We don't have any power sector, and there's a very methodical reason, very precise reason. That's why. You did not give the slaves what was supposed to be given to them, the United States government. Our grandparents, when they were turned loose like cattle, to go and be slaved again, to go and be took advantage of and accrued disadvantage. And now they had children, which is us. And we haven't corrected those laws. We haven't corrected those amendment rights that belong to us. They haven't been implemented for us to advance from as a protection in government and policy. Other people stealing them. This is what I'm saying here. And other people are using that in a way which we never had a chance to because they are non-threatening. They come from somewhere else and they obey the powers that be to be here. They don't want their visa snatched away. But they're having children on their visa and becoming politicians and, city officials and police officers. And they are agreeing with race soldiers. And they're also marrying into the white supremacists. And they're having children. And they're trying to make a new world over our heads without us being corrected politically. You see, if we're corrected politically, the police will get the memo. You don't shoot people when they're the future. When they are the future. You don't do that. You don't go out and kill people when they are made a brand in terms of protection. Because if we made in protection and they cut the check, we can get our own police. We can be valued. They will see us in a sense of value. The system will have to reflect us in a sense of value because the dollar is there. The dollar will be there for us to exchange. We can get loans from the banks. We can pay into our own programs. You see? We can get the help we need in terms of laws being implemented. Whereas though they can say if you got a felony, we have to oversee this or that. Maybe you have to wear a tether for this. Maybe you have to be watched here, or you can get counseling in terms of the dysfunction that happens in the community. But if you have a good legacy in terms of being a slave descendant, you can oversee yourself And you can have business deals. And there's a lot of us that can take advantage of that. And then we can begin the process of repairing ourselves, of being repaired if we get the incentive that we deserve. People co-op coming in, shoehorning their way in. I have a dream speak from Dr. Martin Luther King. That is my uncle, not yours. That's my ancestor. And white supremacy and white people have an idea, younger white people, that they can go out and kill black people and say they're protecting some businesses on the corner. Kyle Rittenhouse. And then we got white people out in the street right now saying, free Kyle. What do you want to free Kyle for? He doesn't have a right to walk up and down the street with an assault rifle, killing people because they want to use their voice. That's illegal. That's against the Constitution. If we done something like that, all hands will be on us, execution style. Every implement of the law will go toward us so that we can be an example of what punishment looks like when you disobey the law. But they want to free him, try to be a GoFundMe. You see, they're not saying, oh, he had a mental health problem. They're not even saying that now. They used to say stuff like that. We got families out here that lost their children out here forgiving these race soldiers before they even bury their child. The family in Louisiana. We got to understand the shaping of what had happened to us, and we need to anchor down to a unit. This is serious and it's urgent, very urgent. And we have to understand that. We have found our faith through religion, not through necessarily faith, but religion. And that's a problem. We need to know that we're black first. That's what I can't implement enough. Black people, pay attention. Do not go off into your religion saying I'm a Christian first. Because Jesus was Jesus first. He was the Son of God first. That's his family. That's the origin of where he come from. He's made. And if we see, one of our problems is the way we look at our Creator. We don't understand what slavery taught us in terms of the way we see Jesus as a meek and mild person. Somebody who's going to love you no matter what you do to them. Jesus was not just that. Jesus was a warrior. Those men who had God's favor and God's own heart, David and Goliath, Moses, all the men was warriors. They stood for something. They were strong men. And they were also sinners. But they had God's favor. They were power. They were power. They were the apparatus. They were the epitome of power, not pushovers. Not pushovers. We see that. That's the teaching that you would teach a docile people. You would teach a slave to love someone no matter what. That's how a hoe teach a pimp. A pimp teach a hoe. Love me. If I bust you in your mouth, I want you to love me, baby, and give me my kisses. I'm just going to be real with you and speak truth to power. We need to understand religion is a very important space in our heart. Well, I was raised in the church. We need to understand what that did to us. We see a meek space, a docile. It has taught us how to be docile and not people of power. Why do you think the Bible says you can be angry without sin? Why do you think Jesus turned over tables and said, my Father's house is not a house of merchandise? Because he was angry. He was fed up and he was a man of honor, kingship, power, and authority. Moses had authority to lead those people. You got to understand, that's one major thing that they stripped from the slave is religion. Ogun, a religion. And now what we did, we reshaped it. Now, I give much oblige to the nation of Islam. However, we have problems there too. You guys are the most anchored and respectful unit in terms of being black. However, we need you to come forth when it's time to. And what we do is separate ourselves in terms of what we believe about religion. We got Jehovah's Witnesses. We got Buddha. So we can't come together because we have different religions. So we feel like we don't associate with each other. No other group does that but us. When you're above family, you too high, as my mother would say. When you are above family, you too high up, and sometimes the fall can be fatal. You too high. We are family. actors out there and you over-class politicians, when you're above family, you're too high. We have a blood lineage connection. This is how government shapes. We have lost the ideology of what's government, a true government, true connection. We think in our minds we can shape it different because we fantasize that we can't do. That is not the reality of the way things are in terms of business and power, in terms of society, in terms of a nation. And that's not what it is. We're so far away from that. That's so far away from the truth. Because you're an icon, you don't get to separate yourself from your audience if they have the same blood lineage and you know you came from the concentration camp, the hood, or black community, and you were able to be adopted. Let's go back to that word, adopted by white supremacy. So you've been adopted. You don't let someone adopt you. If we be reshaped and politically shaped and get our reparations, we can partner with them because we've been made a brand to partner, not adopted by them. Well, they own you now because you got a few mil. And now you have to reflect in terms of serving them of what occupation you've been appointed to, whether it's a football player, basketball player, a comedian, actor, whatever. It don't matter. Politician, especially our politicians. You've been let out the gate to serve and gatekeep. And keep us over inside so we can be the battery of someone else's success. That means without reparations. You look at the black community, do assessments, and you will see that the grassroots need to be corrected in terms of reflection on every soul that's an American slave descendant. On every soul of black people. You can reflect in terms of your community being there balanced and not dysfunctional. Because when you come out of that gate, they always can look at you and say, oh, you come from this. This is what I'm going to do to you. I'm going to put you in jail for the same crimes that Kyle committed. Because you will come from a slave. You don't have any political incentives. You're a slave. We made you rich. Oprah, you're a pitch girl. Now you can retire because you got Obama in office, which I hate she done anyway, come to think about it. You got to understand we're connected. This is every excuse. What I'm giving you, the analysis, what I'm telling you is every excuse for us to reconnect. If LeBron James got mad, that let you know right there he felt the pain. He understands. Somebody walking off stage, Oprah writing books now, James Clyburn starting to talk our language. They understand. They let you know you're not that high up. We lost the idea of who we are. We are connected blood lineage, blood sacrifice, as descendants of slaves. All of us, not just the grassroots talking about, oh, I'm a better black person because I did this. No, you don't have a reflection of community or your family, you ain't nothing. These people, you don't see no East Indians living like that. Every last one of them have opportunity because they have self-preservation. They understand their connection lineage. They understand who they are. White people have all the wealth because they are white people. The United States made race. We the only one that left the idea of race in terms to say something else happened through fanaticism and so that we can have some false belief so that we feel better about things. But let's look at the reality. That's the only way you're going to be free. The truth shall make you free. Thank you for joining me.